In the previous video, I showed how you can perform deduplication on eDocs without processing. However, that process made me feel very uncomfortable. A couple of reasons for that. First, you kind of just run a command and you trust system to do it for you. And also when you do it, you don't really have a step-by-step workflow that you can backtrack and check things. And also you don't have any kind of duplicate exception report or duplicate report, so you could say, okay, these documents were eliminated. So I figured let's revisit that, and I'm going to show you a way that you could do this deduplication, but it'll be more complicated. I'm going to use Microsoft Access, and then something that I would feel more comfortable about doing. So I've done a little bit of research before this because I had to get some different commands here for PowerShell and so on. So let me take you through the process of how I would to go about deduplicating eDocs without processing, and also without processing. People are going to question that. I actually had somebody question at me, is it processing or is it not processing? It's a question. Let's go to the screen. All right, I got my PowerShell, and here I have a folder which contains a bunch of documents that I put that has duplicates. So they're just a bunch of different files, and there are duplicates in there. So let me clear the screen. So what we're going to do is run an ls command, and then we're going to put the recurse, which means go into subfolders. And just like before, we need to pipe the command. So I'm going to use a pipe. I'm going to pipe the data into a different command, which is called get file hash, and get file hash will run once per each line as the results from ls come back, and then that's going to give us hash values that we need for deduplication. Now we are also going to pipe that into another command. We are going to get lots of different columns. We don't want lots of different columns. We just want our hash value and the file path. So we're going to say select object property, and now we're going to say hash and path. So those are the two columns, like a select statement in SQL. So we're saying select object, and property is the property that gets returned. So hash and path. Now we're going to need to redirect that into something else, and where we need to redirect to is a text file. Previous time I just did a command called out file, which gives you a tab delimited format, which is terrible, and I believe it will truncate files at the end too, so that was really bad. So that's why we're revisiting that. Command we're going to use for redirection is export CSV, and we're just going to save it to a C drive somewhere, so we'll call it dirlist.csv. Of course it's a CSV. I'm going to press enter, and now this file is created on my C drive. All right, and this is what the file looks like. So we don't have any truncation here. Everything is good. We do see that we have, do we have duplicates here? Yeah, we do. So we have duplicates of our file name, and interestingly enough, copy comes first before the original. That doesn't matter. One thing that I don't like is our header here is a little weird. I'm not sure what's going on here. There's an extra line. I'm just going to delete it. Go to the bottom, save it, and now we are going to load this into Microsoft Access. All right, I created a blank Access database. I'm going to go to external data, and I'm going to say text file. I'm going to browse to my file, click open, and I'm going to say import from a data source. It's going to automatically identify that it's a delimited file, which is great. So we're going to go to next. First row does contain column names, which is excellent. It's a comma, so it identifies them. However, one thing I would change here is for our path. So the short text, I'll make it a long text. Just in case, you never know how long some of these paths are. So next, let access add primary key. It's always a good practice to let access add primary key. In fact, this time it's a key. No, it's very important to let it do that. If you don't do it, our process is not going to work. So we need that sequential number. So next, we can make a table, click finish, and we are done loading this into Access. So now we see that we have our hash values and we have our files. And we also see that we do have duplicates because we can see our hash values. So how are we going to deduplicate this? Well, we're going to run what's called a group by query, and we're going to group our hash values together. And within our group, we'll be able to identify first occurrence and a last occurrence of a duplicate. If we have multiple, we can't really do anything with the middle. But interestingly enough, in our case, we don't even care about the last occurrence of a duplicate. We just care about first occurrence of a duplicate because that is our original document. All right, so this is where we're going to get a little technical here. So I'm going to close a table. Also, whenever you resize tables and such and sort, always say no to saving. This no refers to the layout of a table, not the data itself. Data gets saved automatically. I don't know how many times I said it in my couple of jobs back because people kept saving sort orders, and every time you reopen it takes forever to open a table. We're going to go to design query and we'll add our table. We're going to add our hash value, and we're going to add it twice. We're going to turn on totals, and we're going to change group by to count. So we'll see two columns. One is we're going to group by hash value, and then two, we're going to see how many occurrences of that hash value we have. So if I run this, we see that some hash values we have one, sometimes we have two. All right, one other thing we can add here is we can add an ID, and we could say give me min, give me the smallest ID in the group. So now this is our first ID of a duplicate or in a duplicate group. All right, and these are the records that we're interested in. So what we really need to do now is tag all these IDs in our main table. But in order to do that, we can save this query and then use a query in another query, but that's sometimes a bad practice. And sometimes it doesn't let you do it if it's an update query. So we're going to convert this query into a make table query, and we're going to call dups. Okay, we're going to say okay, we're going to run, and we're going to say yes to append all the records. We're going to discard that query. All right, now we have our dir list, and we have our duplicates, and we have ID of the first duplicate. So if we look at right here, so let's take this hash value, and we'll see 260. Okay, so if we search here, and we can even filter, we'll see that our first occurrence is at ID 260. And then the second occurrence at 270. So what we want to do is tag all our unique documents. All right, so I'm going to close that, and I'm going to go to here, design, and I'm going to say, is it unique? I'm just going to put letter U for unique, and we're going to update it with letter Y, yes or no. All right, let's build a new query. Create design query. We're going to add both tables, and now we're going to say, or drag and drop, whenever we have min of ID equals to ID, and we create this kind of connection, we're going to add U here. We'll also change query to update. We're going to say update to letter Y. We're going to run 252, say yes, go to our dir list, and now you see that we have identified all our unique documents. So whenever we don't have letter Y, those are the files we don't want, and whenever we do have Y, that's our deduplicated set. So if we just say equals Y, bam, those are our 252 documents that are unique. And if we unfilter, that's our 275, that's our total collection. So now from here, we can give this report. So we can look at the numbers before, after. We can make a list of documents we're eliminating, so we can kind of feel good about it because we are keeping track of it. And we can build a batch file from this to copy these files to a new location. After copying, we can compare counts from the batch file to the number of actual files I got copied. So again, we're confident that we got everything accounted for and nothing slipped through. And that is probably it for this video. This is exactly how I would do it. I probably have a video on making a batch file to copy files over. You can either use robocopy or xcopy or something like that. Probably can look it up. I'll see if I have a video about that. If I don't, I'll make another one talking about how to make a batch file to copy from one location to another. That's it. Let me know what you think. Cool, not cool, either way. I'll see you on the next video.